What is going on, YouTube? This is Jam back with another video review, here to talk to you guys today about my thoughts on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. This is the remastered edition that came out in 2020, and I'm gonna get this up front and early. It's my game of the year, no doubt about it. I was a huge Tony Hawk fan growing up, and as many of you, experienced some hits and misses as time went along. We saw the Tony Hawk 2, which was a phenomenal, kind of reimagining of the first with even more stuff. 3 was pretty good, but it started to go downhill after that. If you recall, they had a skateboard accessory for a while that you could use. They had the ability to get off your skateboard and run around, and it just kind of started to get stagnant. And I honestly thought after the last Tony Hawk that came out 2 years ago, which I passed on, by the way, I really thought the franchise was dead. Now, I'm glad to say it's definitely alive and well. I think this game is going to lead to more Tony Hawk games, and I'm all about it. There's something special about the original Tony Hawk for me personally, because it's a game that I grew up on, and nostalgia is an incredibly powerful drug. But I remember very well hanging out with my then best friend at the time, Bruno Mariano, and him and I would play this game all weekend long. That's all we did. It was either his place or my place with our PlayStation. I'd bring over my controller, we'd do split screen, and we'd do score attack. And we did it all weekend long. I always played as Tony Hawk because I liked the vertical stuff. He liked to grind, so he was more into that. And I would just hit there and just go up and down the half pipes over and over and over and doing tricks and tricks and tricks. And he would do grinding, and even though he would get some ridiculously high scores from combining insane grinds together, my strategy was kind of slow and steady. And honestly, we were about a split on who won. I can't definitively say he was better or worse than me. Although I do recall the time I lost 22 matches in a row, and it was the first time I ever broke a controller. I took my PlayStation 1 controller and I slammed it in his bedroom floor, so agitated, and it shattered into 1,000 pieces. Pretty stupid of me, but the game remains awesome. And even though the games over the years have kind of fallen off, this game gets everything right and then some. And that's what I really, really like. This is a true remastered. It's rebuilt from the ground up. The engine is very smooth. You're gonna get 60 frames a second on console. Doesn't matter if you're playing the original PlayStation or the original Xbox, all the way up to the Xbox One X or the PlayStation 4 Pro, which is what I'm currently playing on. You're gonna get a 60 frame per second experience. And that really matters a lot in this game when you're pulling off very technical, very intensive, very time-specific tricks. And you're gonna have a very easy time doing it, which is awesome. Frame rate aside, the game looks gorgeous. There is a very robust HDR tuning in this, something that I didn't honestly expect to see, but was greatly appreciated playing on my Sony A1E. It looks really good. There are a lot of nice reflections in this map. There are a lot of nice lighting effects, as different maps have different lighting and particle effects. When you grind, it actually looks like sparks are flying out, and depending on what level you're in, if it's a lighter or a darker level, it will really pop. The just overall terrain and everything is just beautiful to play on. And as you start working your way through the games, you will see the levels increase in complexity and increase in fun factor. The challenges will get more and more intense as you go on. And by the end of this, I think you're going to be pretty good. I think you're going to be able to pull off some ridiculous, easily 100,000 point tricks by combining vertical with a revert into a manual into some really cool grind chain. You're going to have a lot of fun with this. And what I love so much about it is it's so easy to pick up and play. The tutorial does a phenomenal job of explaining everything, something I actually needed to go to. Despite being a hardcore Tony Hawk fan, keep in mind, guys, that was 21 years ago. So it's been a minute since I played the original. Definitely needed to go through that tutorial and learn how to play again, which is okay because it's a great tutorial and it does break everything down into a basic and to an advanced mode to kind of get you back up to speed. But really the best way you're going to learn is just playing. And this game does a phenomenal job of really, really quick load times. It does a phenomenal job of keeping you invested in the action even after you fall. So unlike other Tony Hawk games where when you would fall, it was this kind of long animation to get you back in this, not with Tony Hawk, the remastered version. When you fall down, you kind of like fade out of reality and then fade back in, almost like a bad VCR tape. It's a cool effect because a lot of times they'll reward you if you were doing something very intensive by giving you a lot of momentum to continue doing tricks. It's not like you come to a complete dead stop and you have to do specials and like kind of build up your momentum. It'll keep you going. And that's really a lot of fun because it really kind of, I don't want to say rewards you for failing because that's not really true, but it doesn't hurt you. And it incentivizes you for sure on how to play more aggressively and get those better scores. Sure, everybody's going to pull off a 50, 60,000 point trick at some point, probably just doing like a 900 over a ramp or some sort of basic grind combination, you know, into like a basic revert. You're going to very easily hit that score. But where it really starts to get fun is when you start chaining together things faster and more and more. And the game is going to, in a sense, reward you even if you fail because it's going to get you right back in the action very quickly. I can't say enough good things about that system and how much I love it. This game could have been much more punishing. It's not. The controls are spot on. I play with the D-pad. I think that's the only way to play a Tony Hawk game. But I can say that both analog and D-pad work wonderfully well. You're going to have a phenomenal time playing this game, however you choose to play it. I play with D-pad because back then that's all we had was a D-pad, okay? This is back in the PlayStation 1 days. The analog controller was an extra cost. The base PS1 did not have analog sticks. So that's how I grew up playing. And I suspect a lot of you guys probably, who are old timers like me, probably are going to stick to the D-pad as well. Outside of some of that technical stuff in terms of like controls and in terms of graphics and everything, I have to give a nod to the soundtrack. Now, I have owned the soundtrack for an incredibly long time. If you guys got a chance to watch my unboxing and subsequent mounting of the Tony Hawk Pro Skater skateboard, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of grunge and punk, and this game has a ton of it in there. The soundtrack is really, really, really good. And really one cool thing that they did, which honestly not enough games do, is the soundtrack is constantly running through the entire experience. When you open up the game and you're selecting your character, when you're selecting your loadout in terms of like where you want to put your stat points, what you want your character to look like, skateboards, when you're looking through challenges, whatever, the soundtrack's playing in the background. When you go to a loading screen to play your particular level, soundtrack's still loading. And it just continues all the way through. It's a very seamless experience. Even when you fail and you quick restart or you decide to entirely quit the map and go back to the loading screen, or the home screen rather, to do something entirely different, the soundtrack is still playing. And it's a very simple but very elegant touch. Far too often in a lot of these games, particularly on PlayStation, you get caught with these really long loading screens. And it's just, you know, it takes a minute or two to get the action going. I saw this on Last of Us. I'm definitely seeing it on Ghost as I'm playing through it, where when the loading screen is occurring, you're just kind of like sitting there waiting for something to happen. You feel like in this game, because the music's so poppin', like you're always into it and it's kind of getting you going. And that music speaks to me so much because that is my music. But I think you're going to really find a couple songs you like. I think you're going to be able to find something you're interested in. They've done a really cool thing where they show you what the entire soundtrack is. You can turn off songs as you want. If you just want to play one song in continuous loop, I guess you could. Obviously, you could turn everything off and play your own music in the background. But it allows you in the game to turn on and off soundtracks. You could skip songs, rather. You can skip through any song you don't like. You just tap in that R stick and it just whoop, goes to the next song if you're not in the mood for it. But I think you're going to like every song that you hear. At least I know I do. The rewards are great. There's hidden characters. There's collectibles in every map. There's objectives in every map which reward you for exploring, finding your own path and your own grind lines. Clearly the game has done some of that for you where it's pretty obvious, like, oh, we want you to hit this ramp and then jump over to this thing and you're going to grind all the way out that way. Of course those exist. But the fun thing is finding your own. And the fun thing is finding little shortcuts and little paths that kind of make you feel like you've done something cool. And you're going to find you're going to be doing those over and over in these point attack modes, trying to get your score up. You know, you're going to start off with like, can I just ollie it as like a basic thing? And then you're like, well, it'd be cool if I could ollie and like kick flip it and then land into a revert and manual off. And before you know it, you're going to be pulling off some ridiculous moves before and after the trick, trying to pump up that score. And the single player experience is phenomenal. The multiplayer experience is phenomenal, where you paint structures to kind of earn more points. They also have a horse kind of mode where you take turns with other people trying to get a high score. All along the way, there's constant amount of challenges and money that you're going to earn, which allows you to buy more customizations for your own character, different skate decks, different clothes. It really has everything. It's a total package, and I can't say enough good things about it. I know PlayStation 5 is coming out very soon. I know there's going to be some great games that are coming with that, but I'm telling you right now, I'm calling it today. No doubt about it. Tony Hawk Pro Skater is my game of the year, and I know that's not going to change. This game just hit me in the feels so hard, so fast, so good. It was an emotional experience for me playing. Really brought me back to those old days with Bruno. Really brought me back to just when times were a little simpler, just playing some good music and having some fun. And I think Tony Hawk does a phenomenal job of that. And with that, I think I'm going to close out this video. I want to hear from you guys. Leave a comment below. Let me know about your thoughts on Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Let me know if you think it is as good as I do. You better. I'm just kidding. Everybody's got their own opinion, but I know mine's right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.